Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to continue on with the Polish Beer Month that I've been filming for you across May 2016, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. But for this one we have one of my favourite beer styles, and if you've watched my channel before you will know what I'm talking about when I say I love this style. So for this one we are going to go to Browar Birbant, who are one of the many contract breweries in Poland. These guys of course are meant to be very highly rated. This is the first time I'm trying one of their beers, but we're having a taste of their Imperial Red tonight. So it's a red American IPA, and this was a style that I really got into in New Zealand actually. There's some beautiful red IPAs down there. First Blood from 8 Wire Brewing Company is one that I really liked, and I'm very interested to see what the Polish take on this style is. The standard of craft beer in Poland is very high, so I would recommend that you go over there and have a try of some of their beers. This was another one that was recommended to me by Pavel at Piwomaniak. Very nice little beer shop near the centre of Warsaw. He's a very nice guy as well, big metalhead just like me, so go and check out his beer shop if you're interested in Polish beer, and I'm sure it'll point you in the right direction. The Facebook link to him is in the description below, so do check it out. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Browar Birbant. This is the very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course, and there's all the usual social media, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd. Please follow me on there. Your support would be much appreciated, and if you do want to see more beer videos, just subscribe to the channel. And I do apologise in advance for any bad Polish pronunciations in this video. Polish is a really quite crazy language and very difficult to pronounce, so I apologise to those of you watching in Poland for butchering your language, but please do let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like me to look at from Poland, and I'll see if I can get them. So anyway, to tell you about Browar Birbant. So these guys are another one of the many contract brewers in Poland. As I've told you many a time, a lot of the brewers, the craft brewers in Poland, rent the spare capacity at other breweries. And it's the same kind of idea, I guess, as Mikkeller and Toyo, the Danish gypsy brewers who actually brew most of their beers in Belgium, or the Swedish Phantom breweries that we have here. But this company were founded in 2013 by Jarek Sosnowski and Krzysztof Kula. But Jarek is actually a professional brewer, and he's a fermentation science graduate from the University of Agriculture in Krakow, while Kula has been homebrewing since 2003. So you've got two quite experienced brewers running this company. But apparently the pair met in 2006 at an event hosted by Mini Browarze House, and they soon decided to start their own company together. Apparently something just clicked between them. But they brewed their first beer at Browar Wiednica, and apparently this was a nice double IPA if I remember correctly, but they brew most of their beers now at Browar Zarzyce, and this really seems to be quite a hub for these contract brewers. There's so many of these brewers actually brew down in this southeast corner of Poland. It's actually near a city called Rzeszów, I guess you could call it. It's to the east of Krakow and just in that very sort of southeastern corner of Poland. But this is a real hot spot for where some of these contract brewers brew. Quite a few of the beers I've actually reviewed for you were brewed in that facility. So I guess it's somewhat similar to the De Proef Brouwerij at Lokrista Hefte. There's a lot of spare capacity that people rent out. But this company, Browar Birbant, they say they like to experiment with different hops, and they also quite like barrel aging and stuff as well. But apparently most of their barrel aged beers are tap only, and you'll find those at sort of festival appearances and things like that. But I've heard very good things about these guys. As I say, Pavel at Piwomaniak told me this is a brewery that I really should try, and hopefully I can try some more of their beers in the near future after we review this one. So just to list the other beers you can get from these guys, there's a fairly big range actually. There's the Pils and Love, ABW, Dr. IPA, Saison Currywurst, which sounds very interesting, American Weizen, 10 hops Gold Edition, Belgian Blonde, Old Ale, Imperial Citra, Miss Bigfoot, Imperial Red, this guy here. There's the Red AIPA, which is a kind of toned down version of this, ESB, Black AIPA, White AIPA, Simcoe, Mosaic, American Wheat, Robust Porter, Robust Double Porter, Citra IPA Dark, and finally the American Brown Ale. So as you can tell, there's a big range of beers from these guys, and as I was saying, they're very highly rated. So I would bet that pretty much any of the beers that you would try from these guys, pretty much pick a style you like, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. This beer was rated well into the 90s on Rate Beer, so it's one that you probably want to try for yourself. So let's actually get stuck into this beer now. So this one is a 7.8% red IPA. It's hopped with Amarillo, one of my favourite hops incidentally, Cascade, Centennial and also Zeus, and there's a malt base of Pilsner Munich and caramel malt, and the yeast strain is US05. So I'll let you have a little quick look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. So as you can see, nice, there's a guy on the front there with these kind of a cowboy, I guess, with these double revolvers smoking there. Looks really nice. You can see the star on his hat too. There's the Browar Birbant symbol. That is also on the bottle cap there. It looks very nice. You can see there's a little bit on the side there that tells you about the red IPA style in Polish. It just tells you about the different hops and things like that, and the IBUs and stuff. I'm not even going to try to read that because Polish, like I say, is quite a crazy language. It's one of the most odd ones you're going to come across actually, but it's interesting. I have to say I've got great respect for people who actually go and learn Polish because it is very, very difficult. Probably Polish and Finnish, Hungarian, Estonian, those are the most difficult languages in Europe. But as I say, it comes in at 7.8% and it's a red American IPA. So let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting then. Really looking forward to this one. Yeah, as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this one. You can smell the orange and the caramel from this beer as you open it up. It smells really nice. Ooh. I always get excited when it comes to trying red IPAs. It's a style that's actually still quite rare, even though it seems to be really flavourful. The first red beer I came across, of course, was the 5am Red Ale, or 5am Red Saint as it was called originally, from Brewdog, and that was where I really started to get interested in the style. Then I went to New Zealand and they had the Imperial Red beers, and I was just blown away by those. So as you can see, if I hold this beer up to the light, you can see it's poured. I'll just bring the light down and let you see that a bit better. You can see this beer has poured a nice, it's quite a dark amber actually. You're seeing it on the camera as a mahogany colour, but if you hold it up to the light, it actually does become more of a red, almost kind of slightly candy red apple actually. But it's a red, nice reddish amber colour there. Definite red, just a kind of medium amber, I guess you could say, with a nice red hue to it. It looks very, very nice, and there's I guess you could call that a kind of beigey cream head on this one. It was about a quarter finger, but it's faded away to be a very thin, foamy layer. But it looks really nice. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head. There's no sediment visible in this one as far as I can see. If I hold it up to the light, yeah, there's none that I can see, but you can see there is a degree of transparency, but the beer is quite opaque actually. So let's give it a smell and see how we get on. That's a nice aroma on this one. There's a good balance there between the hops and also the malts. So underneath you can smell a little bit of toasted caramel. That caramel malt is one of the real trademarks of these red IPAs. Just the prominence of the caramel malt and the fact that it's a little bit toasted. But the orangey flavours, it's really, for me it's always the nice orange, the Amarillo presence in these beers, and the nice toasted caramel that just really characterise that red IPA style. And of course I love the double IPAs over the IPAs. Just I like that extra booziness that you get from them with the caramel malt flavours. Really nice. But yeah, there's a nice orangey citrus character coming out of this beer. That of course is the Amarillo. You can pick up the grapefruit that's just backing that up there. There's a definite tropical fruit note to this beer, and there's some floral aromatic character. It's maybe a little bit resinous, and that'll be the Centennial and the Zeus that are giving you that. There's a little touch of earthy character I think as well, and I think that might be coming from the Zeus if I remember correctly. I can't remember what country the Zeus is from, but I remember in the beers that I've had Zeus, that used Zeus before, it did have a kind of distinctive earthy character. But it's quite interesting because it mixes well. There's a bit of a biscuity element, a kind of biscuity grainy element just behind the caramel note in this beer. And the earthy character, the slightly earthy character mixes really well with that. So yeah, I would say that this is a really quite nice aroma. So it is underneath it's got a good balance. I mean, there's a good hoppy character and some nice toasted caramel malts in this beer. So yeah, I would recommend that you have a smell of this one before you try it. But let's get stuck into this one. So this is the Imperial Red, a red American IPA from Browar Birbant in Poland, one of the many Polish contract brewers. I've heard very good things, so let's try it for ourselves. Na zdrowie. Yeah, that is good. That is a good beer. Yeah, it comes in really quite bitter to start with actually, but it just levels itself out a bit more. We'll just put the rest of this in the glass. These Polish beers, honestly, the standard of the Polish craft beer is very, very high, so I really would recommend that you try some of these. Get yourself out to Poland, Krakow, Warsaw, Gdansk, Lublin, Szczecin, Wrocław, wherever you want to go, there is good craft beer in Poland. Every city seems to have a very good craft beer bar these days and their own local brewers, so I would recommend that you try some of these. The standard is very, very high. Yeah, this is a beautiful beer. It's got a good, this one, the ones that I tried in New Zealand had a bit more caramel sweetness to them. This one finds itself a little bit more balanced. The caramel is a bit more roasted actually in this one, I think. It's just got a little bit of toasted character to it. Or perhaps it's more the kind of floral aromaticity that's dominating the beer in this one. It's not quite as sweet, but it's still really, really nice. So as I always say, sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and just let your whole mouth adjust to this beer before you start dissecting the flavours. And in fairness, when you do that properly, that's when you start to pick up more of the sweet elements. So yeah, the middle of your palate is just blanketed with this very nice, light, bready character. It's almost just like pale malt. It goes right across the middle of your palate. On top of that, you can feel a slightly grainy but sweet biscuity character. It reminds me a little bit of these digestive biscuits that we have back in Scotland. It's just that very syrupy, slightly caramelly sweetness that you're getting out of this in the middle of the malt base, but there is a bit of grainy dryness to this one. So just pay attention to the middle of your palate, and closer to the front of the tongue there's some of the more rich caramel that's covering the alcohol in this beer. It's 7.8%. You can, even though it's not one of the heavier ones you're going to come across, you can feel a little bit of the alcohol warmth just down here. 7.8% is light in terms of an imperial beer. But yeah, this is nice. Yeah, you can feel the alcohol warmth. It goes down very smoothly, but then you feel the alcohol warmth as the beer travels down here. That's quite interesting. But of course, I guess in the Polish winter you want something like this. No, this is good beer. There's no doubt about it. Since I started this series, I've been hugely impressed by the standard of the Polish beers. The craft beers are outstanding. Some of the regional beers are very, very good as well. And I have to admit, I was even impressed by the standard of the macro beers. Now obviously, you rate all these beers in different categories depending on what they are. But the craft beers really are outstanding. I mean, they're as good as things that you're finding from Denmark. You know, some of the things you're finding in America too. The Polish craft beer scene is very, very good actually. And I was surprised to learn about how good the regional beers in Poland are too. And in terms of Imperial Reds, while this one has different flavours, it's just as good. And I mean, that's what you want. You don't want all of these Imperial Reds to taste the same. You want each brewer's one to be different. And this is quite interesting. This one is, like I say, it's a little bit darker, and the hop flavours in this one are quite different. So at the back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of earthiness. As you come further forward, you start to get more of a floral aromatic character. There's maybe just a little bit of pine resin in this beer as well, but the floral aromaticity for me is a little bit dark, but you can feel that dryness around the front part of your tongue. Around the very front curve, I'd say it's a bit lighter and grassy, and if you just go behind that front curve, you'll feel that oily bubble that I always talk about with IPAs and double IPAs. There's some nice orangey citrus in there. It's actually quite a dark orangey citrus. I mean, the orange always comes from the Amarillo, but I would guess that the Cascade in this one, the grapefruit in there is playing a bit of a role in making it slightly darker. Probably also the Centennial as well, actually, in the Zeus. The orange feels a little bit darker in this beer. Yeah, I would stick with that. You'll feel the aromaticity, the floral aromaticity in this beer, and the orange flavours are a bit darker, but I think this is really nice. I've very much enjoyed this beer. I'd love to try the smaller one, just the regular red IPA, and see how that one turns out. Just see what how it turns out with a little bit less booze, actually, because it would be quite interesting. I think with the darker flavours, maybe the lighter one might work a little bit better, but this one is a very good beer. So yeah, in terms of the flavour, I would recommend this to people who like a nice kind of dark, slightly roasted caramel, but also people who like these dark floral aromatic flavours, and who like the sort of fruity flavours to be quite tropical leaning, but at the same time dark and tropical, and also dark and citrusy. Some of these double IPAs blend together very well with the grapefruit and the orange, and this one does that. This one really hits the spot. For a red IPA, like I say, it's not one of the sweeter ones that you're going to come across, but it still works very well, and in that regard, I guess you can say it's quite quirky. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel, I would say this is mid-bodied, definitely mid-bodied. The carbonation in it is quite smooth. It's got quite an earthy mouthfeel, but there's quite a lot of alcohol warmth in this one, I would think. For it only being 7.8%, when you take that into account, there is a lot of alcohol warmth in this beer. There's a bit of caramelly sweetness from this one, but the malt base for me actually has quite a bit of graininess to it. There is a little bit of dryness there, and even the caramel flavours are quite roasty, but the hoppy character is fairly dry as well. But yeah, I mean, there's a bit of fruity juiciness too, and those are all the main components of the mouthfeel. Like I say, this is a really quite interesting beer. It's not like any Imperial Red that I've had before. A lot of the other ones have been a bit more sweet than this. This is a bit more dark, actually, and I don't know if this is maybe the way the Polish people like their red IPAs to be. I'll need to try one or two more of them and just see, because you can pick up little traits like that from different countries when you try some of these like American beer styles. You can see how Polish tastes are with this style. So it's always interesting just to pick up little things like that when you're reviewing beers. But yeah, the main point of this video, the Imperial Red from Browar Birbant, is really nice. As I say, it's quite different from the ones you'll find in New Zealand, the ones that I fell in love with, but it's just as good. It's a little bit quirky, so I would recommend you try it. I'd recommend this for people who enjoy nice dark floral aromatic beers and also darker caramel flavours. I think you would enjoy this one. But yeah, I've really enjoyed my first review from Browar Birbant, so I'm sure in the future I will return to them. Hopefully I can get a hold of some more of their beers to review for you. But I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media. Most importantly though, do comment in the section below and let me know your own thoughts on this beer and your favourite ones from the brewery. Always interesting to hear that. And to those of you in Poland, please do let me know your the other breweries and beers that you guys would like to see me review, and hopefully I can sort out some more Polish beers for you at the time. Since I've popped this Polish cherry, I've discovered many good beers, so do get in touch and let me know your favourites. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you soon. In the meantime, go and check out Pavel at Piwomaniak and Browar Birbant, and just let me know what your favourite beers are. Cheers just now, and I will catch you soon. Na zdrowie.